So I'm just walking to the post office right now, and just kind of thinking. I was listening to Dr. Phil the other day, and he was just talking about just certain people, about like haters in life, and you got these certain types of people that will talk bad about you, or whenever you're trying to lift yourself up, they'll start going around and start discussing what you're doing, how you're doing it with other people in your family dynamics or your social groups and things like that. And I think he called them baiters or something like that. Uh, and it's a form of abuse. And you know, I was just thinking about my stepmom, or my mom, my real mom, and I love her, but she's been in some type of form of abuse for a long time. She's a good person, but we've had our falling out, and then we've gotten back together. But I believe there's a lot of housewives out there that have fallen into this form of abuse because they have husbands that have probably overshared maybe way too much information with their kids that they had in previous marriages. And so by doing this, those kids would get defensive and just on default not want anything to do with the poor lady. And what happens is, like, and it's sad, man, because what happens is this person that was doing well, they kind of get a curse put on them by a group of people, and it ends up, it's like a downward spiral. And this is, if anyone's into the Bible, or if you're not into it or you're not into it, it is what it is. The Apostle Paul, just talked about this as being a downward spiral, and where very few people actually ever get out of it. And if you're dependent on someone else's income for your resources in your life, and they know it, you're abused. They will abuse you, and they'll take advantage. And it's really hard. And I feel bad because there's a lot of women out there. They get to a certain age and they have to self-medicate just to kind of deal with it. They end up with these ailments. Their knees go out, back goes out, they get stressed, they get in car accidents and they can't recover. And this is just a kind of a way that the subconscious finds its way to just kind of deal with this situation. And it's sad. I myself, the way I was brought up, I was told, I'll just give you a little background about myself. So if you Google me, it's not a surprise. Growing up, my mom told me since the age of 4, when my parents split up, that my dad didn't want anything to do with me. It sucked. And so I just kind of dealt with that, and I always had a stepdad, and he was nice. He was a good guy. And, but I was always told that my real dad didn't want anything to do with me, and just to kind of it's okay. It sucks. So I had no real, and then they got divorced. When I was 13, my grandmother told me that she actually got me to meet my real dad, and he told me that none of that was true. But by that time, I was just so conditioned, man. And I never had a real male role model. I always wanted someone. I always thought I'd go to church when I was a kid. Only kid I knew that would actually go to church by himself. No one forced me to go. I just wanted to go. I'd go to youth groups. I was 13, 14, church camp. I don't know how I got into little scholarships, but I did. I didn't have the money, so I just found ways and means to do it myself. So I always thought I would get help. Some guy would sweep down and be my mentor or something. And I always misguided it a lot. And I remember when I was a kid, this kid Joe Bragg, his dad told him that I could hang out with him on Sundays, but after that was it, because we just had different backgrounds, and he couldn't hang out with me after that. But at church he could, because it was, we're at church. And I didn't understand at the time. I just totally didn't get it. And then as time went by, now that I'm older, I'm in my late 30s, and I understand. But until I was 30, man, I would do stupid little things, get in trouble, and then not really worry about paying the fines or paying the consequences. And that was just because not that I didn't want to, I just didn't know better. And this is because of a type of abuse that I went through growing up. And so I've been spending a lot of years trying to work on how to get rid of all this abuse. What do I do, man? So it's like, you know, an old saying in a movie I once watched, it says, you know, you may be through with the past, but the past isn't through with you. Well, I'm not okay with that, man, because I paid the piper for many years now and paid my consequences, still paying back things the best I can. But, you know, I just come to this little remix in my life where is some of the people that I see abusing other people, and like these family members that I know, it's a relationship, and I would watch her brother get in a fight with the mom and excommunicate the mom for a little bit and take away his son, hold the grandkid over to that face and dangle it. And then they'd start talking to her and then stop talking to his sister for a little bit. She'd be upset. Then all of a sudden they'd get okay, and then he'd get mad at his dad, his wife. All of a sudden they can't talk to him. They gotta go. And I'll maybe record this. I'm meeting somebody. Let's say hi real quick.